18th century Europe organized itself around scientific paradigms and causality. During this same period, the Indian subcontinent presented a decentralized landscape following the Mughal Empire's decline. Earlier invaders typically settled within India's frontiers and absorbed its culture. The British conquest introduced a different dynamic, an alien system of scientific and administrative logic. Reformers encountered a specific roadblock. Nearly every social function and hierarchy at the time derived its legitimacy from religious dogma. Since theology provided the foundation for social practices, any attempt to change Indian society required a revision of religious ideology. For the emerging intelligentsia, religious reformation provided the necessary entry point for social and political progress. To reform ancient traditions, the urban middle class built an ideological engine based on three concepts. The first was rationalism. Thinkers argued that social utility should analyze all social phenomena. Second was religious universalism, treating different religions as national embodiments of the same universal theism. Third was humanism, emphasizing the right to interpret scriptures for human welfare. These concepts supported a unified two-point agenda, improving the status of women and fighting disabilities arising from untouchability. This philosophical framework established the secular baseline for the political movements that followed. We map these 19th century movements on a matrix. The horizontal axis scales from reformists, adapting religion to modernism, to revivalists, seeking original purity. Raja Ram Mohan Roy and the Brahmo Samaj sit firmly on the reformist side, separating moral messages from miracle stories. Roy applied his rationalist critique to tradition, citing sacred texts to prove that no religion sanctioned the burning of widows. His efforts led to the 1829 government regulation criminalizing sati. Further left on the matrix, the Young Bengal movement adopted practices intended to challenge orthodox Hindu sentiments, prioritizing reason over tradition. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar focused on widow remarriage through a secular lens. He stated he had no time to think about God while there was much to be done on earth. These changes sparked an orthodox reaction. In 1830, Radhakant Deb founded the Dharma Sabha to protect existing social structures and counter the Brahma Samaj. Swami Vivekananda attempted to synthesize these positions by blending the spiritualism of the East with the materialism of the West. The Bengal vanguard demonstrated that religious texts could be reinterpreted to achieve specific legal protections and social shifts. In Western India, Balshastri Jampekar used the newspaper Darpan to instill a scientific approach to life among the Marathi-speaking public. Gopal Hari Deshmukh, known as Lokitawadi, advocated for the reorganization of Indian society on rational principles, even if it meant changing religion itself. Reformers such as D.K. Karve and Behramji Malabari focused specifically on providing vocational training for widows and regulating the age of consent. In 1873, Jyotiba Phule founded the Satya Shodak Samaj. He shifted the movement's base to the backward classes, directly challenging Brahminical supremacy. In the South, Sri Narayana Guru and the Vaikom Satyagraha pushed for temple entry, demanding that sacred roads be opened to the untouchables. Dayananda Saraswati's Arya Samaj utilized a revivalist strategy, appealing to the lost purity of the Vedas. While they attacked the modern subcaste system, they sought to reconstruct society on the original fourfold division. These efforts later expanded into secular political organizations, such as E.V. Ramaswamy Naiker's self-respect movement. By identifying and attacking the hereditary basis of caste distinctions, these movements targeted the theological justifications for social oppression. The Agar movement, led by Syed Ahmed Khan, introduced a modern liberal trend among the Muslim intelligentsia. Khan sought to harmonize Islamic teachings with the needs of the modern age, arguing that religious tenets were not immutable. Through the magazine Tahdib-ul-Akhlaq, he advocated for women's education and social reforms relating to polygamy and divorce. The Agar movement leaned reformist, while the Deoband school acted as a revivalist counterpoint, focusing on moral religious upliftment while rejecting Western educational influences. Despite their orthodox stance, the Deoband school supported the Indian National Congress, while the reformist Agar movement occasionally propagated a divergence of Hindu and Muslim interests. Simultaneously, the Ahmadiyya movement defended Islam from external missionaries by promoting a universalist religious perspective. In the Parsi community, the Ranu Mai Mazda Yaznan Sabha, led by Dadabai Nauroji, sought to regenerate social conditions. They focused on removing the purdah system and raising the marriage age, resulting in the Parsi community emerging as a highly westernized section. The Sikh Singh Sabha movement pursue a twofold goal: establishing Khalsa schools for Western education and countering the proselytizing of other religious groups. Cross-religious internal debates all trended towards similar endpoints: breaking orthodox hierarchies and educating women. These reformers encountered severe resistance from the orthodox sections of society, including social boycotts and fatwas. To bypass the monopoly of the priesthood, reformers translated religious texts into vernacular languages. This access supported the individual's right to interpret scriptures through reason, which simplified rituals and made worship a personal experience. This shift created an urban middle class with a common foreground of values. This minority group, integrated across the subcontinent, shared a unity of purpose. This integrated class provided the leadership and ideological cohesion required to eventually challenge the colonial administration. The intellectual framework of the 19th century elite preceded the mass political mobilization of the 20th century. By removing the social evils that divided society, these reformers provided the social unity necessary for the growth of Indian nationalism. Political leaders in the 1920s adopted the social agenda defined by these early reformers, including anti-untouchability and women's rights, to build their political base. This long-term struggle against social inequality concluded with the drafting of the 1947 Constitution. Mandates such as the abolition of untouchability and equal rights for women are direct legal applications of the 19th century reformist agenda. India's secular democratic republic grew out of a century-long process of re-evaluating religion to meet the demands of the modern age.